union executive committee and societies executive, and a lot of other meetings that do quite a lot of important things for engagement in the university and union.
And now we'll go to John.
As far as it goes with previous engagement with SU democracy, I'm a second-year student, but last year I was just really
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
I came along to events like this last year, and I just enjoyed the whole process of seeing it go by in the voting. Granted, I wasn't as active as I could have been, but that's the approach I wanted to take now, and I've been more involved. I attended my first UGM, and I thought that was a really interesting experience. And I just, overall, I think it's something that more students should get involved with. And I think that's really a problem. Students like myself in the past, and a lot more students, maybe don't have that much previous engagement. And, you know, I think they should know that it's easy for them to engage more. And, yeah, that's what I want to promote, really.
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
Thank you. And Mo. Yeah. Oh, if you want, it's just written there, or if you want, Andy can read it out again.
Okay, yeah, okay. So, such an awkwardly paced mic, but okay. So, previous engagement in SU democracy. Let's start off with how the SU works for the individual. An individual person might join a society. That's what I've done. There might be
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
Social or political issue that has affected you. It has, for my case anyway. So I thought, let's make a change. Let's put a motion through it and let's put it through into the SU. And I did. And the motion, after very long debates and quorum calls, it got passed. And that was actually, you know, one of my very first tastes of SU democracy. I've actually been able, with FOSIS, I've been able to work with a lot of
This is a
societies
demonstration
around the
of
country.
Wirecast.
And I've been able to see how other SUs have worked as well. And I've actually helped them develop their engagement with, in particular, people of
And that's
POC.
time. Okay. Andy, time for another?
Yes, this is a question from Twitter. There's been a lot of talk about the democratic aspect. What are your plans for union development?
This is a demonstration
There
of
you go, so John,
Wirecast.
answer first on this one.
The primary thing I want to develop is I want to develop a microwave in the library. I think that's pretty easy. I think people have been asking about that for a long time. And that's an issue of a development that isn't necessarily really important. It's not a big change. It doesn't require a long, arduous process. But it's something that it's easy to do. And I think it's a lot of key developments like that that we need to take more seriously, just in terms of raising student satisfaction on a really basic level. In terms of
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
a lot of interesting stuff we're doing in terms of interacting with issues with sexuality, with refugees, with redeveloping this building. And yeah, I just want to be more involved with that. There are some great plans for here in terms of making this venue like a better place for nights out. And in the future, that's something I want to have some interaction with, and to really make sure the student voice is heard when it comes to redesigning the Students' Union.
And Mo, lovely.
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
So as I mentioned a little bit earlier before, I want to actually help publicize the individual students' efforts and their society's efforts. Secondly, I mentioned in my manifesto, I want to have an open door policy. There is one currently now, but I want a selected time every week where anybody can look at the time rota and say, okay, this officer will be there for me right there, right then, and I can talk to them about anything. That's one of them. Another one is I actually had a little bit of a brainchild actually whilst walking up here.
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
A lot of my friends actually at Silverdale have been left without a bus service. I was actually thinking of doing something like using the minibuses and possibly even developing some sort of taxi or shuttle run service for the students who have been affected really quite adversely by having, you know, getting into a contract in Silverdale and not having any way to. Anyway, I have lots of ideas. Follow me on Snapchat /lemonslip. It's all over my posters. Cheers.
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
One of the things I really want to focus on is carrying on the work the current sabbatical officers have been doing with building redevelopment, So last year, the university spent a lot of money coming up with a feasibility plan and plans for the first floor redevelopment, which is this floor that we're on. They still haven't followed through with the money, so I want to continue to lobby them for that money so the students can get the most out of this building. I also want to put aside money each year to make sure the building is maintained at the same standard so things aren't getting worse. Unfortunately, John, we can't get a microwave in the library. Fire regulations said no. But I would really like to get one in this building, and I'm also already looking into how to get a cash machine in the building. I also want to keep getting feedback about food because it's such an important thing for students in the Students' Union. In the survey me and Ella did, food was the #1 reason people use the SU building. So we need to really look at why they
This
why they
is
do
a
it like that and what
demonstration
we can do
of
better.
Wirecast.
I also want to continue the security review, as I said earlier, because it is so important that you feel safe and are safe in this building. I also think it's really important that we focus on sustainability and promote the work that Think Green do, and Karen encourage more volunteers to help them with that.
And have we got any direct individual questions?
Not many, so people should write them down and bring them over whilst we ask some more all questions.
Do we have some to
This
start
is a
with, or
demonstration
shall I
of
move on to
Wirecast.
30 seconds summing up?
We've got some good group questions that are sort of been asked to all of them. Should we ask them?
Let's have one more general question, then we'll round up.
How will you deal with the conflict between acting as a trustee and meeting student expectations?
There we go. So now we'll go to Mo to start.
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
Well, meeting student expectations. First off, you'd have to understand what the student needs. You're going to have an open platform where anybody and everybody can access you straight away. And as a student trustee, it might actually be quite pertinent of you to actually relay this back to the students where applicable. Maybe you can tell them what has been discussed.
This is a
Maybe,
demonstration
like
of
University
Wirecast.
of Bradford, you can have a infographic of what was discussed, and you can let the students know what happened. You, as the UDD, you can actually be the bridge between all these minds that are getting together and want to move forward with the university. Yeah, I think that's it. Thank you.
Lovely, and then Emily.
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
And as a student trustee, I think it's really important to be realistic in what to expect. I am quite a strong principled person and will really stick to my ideas, but I do understand how the SU works and really think I can be realistic about it. I work quite close with this year's sabbatical team, so I kind of know a quite nice balance between it. I will listen to the advice of people, but as far as I can, will stick to what I believe in. I think one thing that's really important for this is constant communication, so everyone knows what is going on, so we can make sure that as a trustee I am still acting in the best interest of students and for the...
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
Right, we were going to move on, but Andy, have you now been swamped with direct questions? Oh, God, John! John, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Oh, did I just get hissed like a panto villain? I'm so sorry. It's a slip of the mind. Sorry. After you, John.
Doesn't matter. No.
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
It's an important job of the trustee to reach compromise between the regulations that is set for you and also achieving students' goals. For example, I now realise you can't put a microwave in the library. So a compromise would be finding somewhere, maybe where there's not fire regulations if a place exists, and you really just need to see in the work on how to get the best of both worlds is what I'm interested in at the end of the day. And that's about all.
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
Now, Andy, have we now got lots of individual questions?
Yes, we do.
Let's go for one rounder then.
So this question is for Mo, and it is, how is your idea of a reward system and internships at the Students' Union different to the current part-time officer positions and volunteer awards?
Okay,
This
so
is a demonstration of Wirecast.
first off, I'd like to say activities and volunteering do an amazing job. They work really quite tirelessly behind the scenes. Secondly, I'd like to say an internship is not the same as an elected official role. An internship requires for you to send in a CV and your particular skills being reviewed by whoever is being employed. It could be chosen by part-time officers, but the actual individual role would be more office-based, kind of giving you a taste.
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
A part-time officer has a set mandate by his or her, or however they like to define themselves, by their mandate. They've been mandated by their peers and the people who've elected them through UGMs and whatnot. Yeah, that'll do me. Yeah, cheers.
Great. Any more, Andy, for our other candidates?
Yes, question.
This is a
for
demonstration
Owen.
of Wirecast.
You say you want to put money aside for building maintenance. Where will you find this money?
Okay, so the new CEO is also going to be overseeing a staffing restructure, which hopefully will move some money around in the kind of scariest way possible. And he also thinks we should reappropriate funds for this sort of thing too. So I'd work really closely with him to find this money. And that's about, yep.
This
do we
is
have
a
one for John?
demonstration of Wirecast.
We do. You speak of less affluent students in your manifesto. How do you plan to help them?
I think the university already has, in terms of the budget we have for giving out grants and scholarships and stuff like that, I think we already do a good amount to help out students who don't maybe get enough money. But I think it's really about educating students about how they can make their money go further. For example, you see this beautiful jacket I'm wearing. This was £4 in a charity shop, so you don't actually need to go and
This
find
is
nice
a
clothes.
demonstration
Really
of
nice
Wirecast.
So I think, you know the whole shopping cart thing. I'm sure you've seen it all over the university social media with the 2 carts. You've got to guess the price. Stuff like that I think we just need to do more of. So that instead of having students complaining about not having enough money, you have students still having a really great experience here, but not wasting money unnecessarily on things they don't need to do.
Great. And would any of our candidates like a little more time to elaborate there on their individual
This
questions?
is a demonstration of
Yeah, we need Mo,
Wirecast.
so we'll give you an extra 30 seconds if that's all right.
So I requested 30 seconds because I didn't really get to explain my rewards-based system. That is what I wanted is people who volunteer more, I wanted them to have an incentive to volunteer instead of just having an amazing CV. I wanted it so that if you put in 20 hours of work at a cake bake or whatever you do, you should be rewarded with physical things and not have to wait until you graduate to reap the rewards.
This
For example,
is a
it could be a memory stick,
demonstration
it could be
of
drinks, it could
Wirecast.
be a free entry into the SU on a night out. The limits, no,
And that's
the options
time.
are limitless. Okay, thank you.
Great. And everybody else happy, or would you like a little more time for your individual questions? It's the same question you were just asked.
If you want to comment on anyone else's questions, then you are welcome to comment on. If you want the opportunity to answer another candidate's question, then you can again request that.
We're all happy. There we go. So now
This
we'll move to
is
your
a
final 30
demonstration
seconds
of
to close.
Wirecast.
And we will begin with, we'll just go back to our starting order. So John, we'll go with you for your 30 seconds to close if you'd like to.
At the end of the day, I think this role is exciting and I think this role is really important, but I think it's also, it's important to engage with the students by just knowing that not everything needs to be really serious. You can have a bit of a laugh. You can go on stage and look like a bit of a dick. So in closing, I'd like to say
This
that
is a
we need to think
demonstration
about
of
what we can
Wirecast.
still do for our university. What our university can still do for us. Thank you very much. Please give my manifesto a read.
And Mo, over to you, 30 seconds.
I don't like to make promises I can't keep. As the great poet once said,
This
Act
is
like
a
a waste man.
demonstration of
That's not me.
Wirecast.
That's Skepta, if you didn't realize. And my manifesto is actually full of points which are actually doable. And I hope that you'll give me the opportunity to do them justice. Vote Mo for Mo Democracy, first or second position. Thank you.
And Emily.
So,
This
although they need
is a
reform, there is
demonstration
more
of
to the system
Wirecast.
compared to the inclusive opportunities that general meetings offer, and I think anything else would limit them. I think we need to continue to encourage students to be represented and to have their voices heard in the Students' Union. It's so important that students can make change and they know how to do it, and that is what I'm all about. So just like thank you all for coming and thank you for submitting questions. Please feel free to add my Facebook group, add me on Facebook personally, ask me any questions. I've got Twitter. I really want to carry on doing everything I've been doing. And just like to say thank you all for coming and thank you to all my friends that have been so helpful the last few weeks. Thank you.
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
Great, thank you, candidates. So if you'd like to head off stage and relax, and now we will have our candidates for welfare and internationalisation take to the stage. Thank you very much.
This is a demonstration of Wirecast. This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
Right, let's get on with the show. Welfare candidates.
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
Okay, can we take seats, please? EF, is everything A-okay? Okay. Yeah, it's all right. We'll do opening speeches first. You don't need to worry yourselves. Do we have Dan Pierce?
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
Okay. So, candidates, you have seen the drill. You know how it works. You will get a 2-minute opening speech, and then we will move to questions. So, the order in which we are going for the opening speeches is Nat, Alex, Anthony, Jagvir, Gedalia, and Dan, who is not here. So, Nat Jordan, if you want to take the mic, as soon as you start speaking, we'll begin your timer and we'll let you know when you've got 10 seconds.
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
Hi everybody, I'm Natalie, or Nat, or the welfare to those that know me best. And this time last year I stood to be your Vice President Welfare, and I'm standing again to be re-elected as your Welfare and Internationalisation Officer. It's very difficult to say. This year, it's been a pleasure to represent you at the Union, at the university, and even on the national stage as one of your NUS delegates. I've reintroduced cross-campus campaigning that are officer-led, and I've brought to you the Easy Tiger campaign, Rent Right, and Keele is Global. Campaigning
This
has been a
is
major
a
priority for me,
demonstration
but I
of
want to continue to build on
Wirecast.
that and have campaigning weeks so that no student group is forgotten and that everything is campaigned for. I also want to introduce an alternative Freshers Week. I understand that for many of you, drinking snakebite and cutting shapes on the dance floor is just fine. But I also appreciate that many of you don't want to engage in that, and there needs to be events for you too. So I want to make sure that we can claim really to be a union for the membership that caters for everyone. I also know that accommodation is still a massive issue, and I've worked really hard to make changes this year. I want to build on my relationships with the Estates Department at the university to
This is a
strategically shape the
demonstration of
direction of
Wirecast.
accommodation on campus. I also want to get tough with landlords off campus and make sure that the standard of accommodation that they give to you is better. I want to lobby the councils that make it harder for landlords to be accredited. I also want to introduce a standardised contract for those that attend the housing fair so that no student can be ripped off by dodgy landlords. I want to tackle transport and parking and make sure that the university prioritise those that are bringing cars to campus with cheaper parking permits and actual places for you to park. I also want to lobby bus companies like First and D&G
This is a
so that bus routes
demonstration
aren't
of
cancelled over
Wirecast.
summer just because students aren't here. And if they're not prepared to do that, I want the university to subsidise it for you. That's just a snapshot of some of the things that I want to do this year because I only have 2 minutes to speak and I tend to run away with myself anyway. But a vote for me is a vote for a candidate with experience, knowledge and passion that will put your welfare first. Whether you're international, BME, LGBT+, a student parent, a student carer or somebody at the CEC, I want to make sure that your student experience is great.
Thank you very
This
much.
is a demonstration of
Next
Wirecast.
up, we have Alex Hunt.
Hi everyone, my name's Alex. I'm a third-year law student and I'm running to be your Welfare and Internationalisation Officer for next year. So where might you recognise me from? I'm President of Street Team, I'm a member of Society's executive, I've been on 6 different society committees, and I work for both the university and for the union as a steward supervisor. And what do I actually want to do? I have a really long list of different manifesto aims and promises that I want to get
This
in.
is a
But they
demonstration
broadly fall
of
into 3
Wirecast.
categories. A better union, a better university, and a stronger national voice. A better union is about things like safer nights out and adopting the living wage within the building. A better university is about things like a student charter for student welfare and crash pads for the most vulnerable students. And a stronger national voice is about getting your Keele voice heard in national issues such as the junior doctors' strike and asylum seekers. Thank you very much for listening. I'm Alex Hunt.
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
Thank you very much.
Hi everyone, my name is Anthony Slack and I am running to be your Welfare and Internationalisation Officer. I am currently a third-year History and Philosophy student. Student welfare has been central to my time at Keele from the very beginning. From becoming a star in my first week, which I was for 2 years here, where I supported fellow students. This welfare focus continued into my 3rd year, where I set up University Faith Forum.
This is a
supporting
demonstration
LGBT+
of
people faith
Wirecast.
and helping bring people together from different communities to create positive changes. As president of the Pagan Society, I spoke at Holocaust Memorial Day, supporting victims of the Holocaust and victims of genocide more widely. I've been passionate about welfare at Keele throughout my 3 years here. I hope to bring these skills I've acquired to the welfare and internationalisation role. My experience, as well as my open personality, makes me an ideal candidate for the Welfare and Internationalisation Officer. My priorities cover 3 key
This
areas:
is a
growing
demonstration of
campaigns,
Wirecast.
celebrating diversity, and supporting the mental health of students. One key campaign will be to raise awareness of study drugs. Internationalisation means to celebrate diversity. I will ensure all chaplains are aware of all faith communities at Keele. With a large community of different faiths, cultures and backgrounds, it makes sense that the chaplains are more aware of the communities on campus. My final area of welfare development will be around mental health. One mental health policy will be to help students arriving at Keele, ensuring they know
This is
the
a
support
demonstration
available
of
straight away from day
Wirecast.
one. To do this, I will ensure I am campaigning during Freshers Week. I will be giving out information and support in those vital first few days. To find out more about me and my manifesto, like the #backslack Facebook page. Thank you for listening.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Jagveer Singh, and I'm going to be your Welfare and Internationalisation Officer. You might have seen me with the nice orange
This is a
stickers around university,
demonstration of
especially the library.
Wirecast.
And I was also elected your racial diversity representative last year. Now, I couldn't stand here. I could tell you that I want to do this, I want to do that, I promise to do this. But for me, and running to be a full-time officer, it's about showing everybody what I've done in the past year in my capacity as a part-time officer. So I just want to briefly mention 2 aspects and my campaigns which helped bring more diversity to university. So one of the first things you might have seen online was the Humans of Keele project, and that was giving you opportunities to international students and
This is a
students
demonstration
from the
of
UK to give their
Wirecast.
feedback about Keele, see how amazing it was, and what we can do to tackle their issues. And now one of my second manifesto points, which I want to look at, is expanding the Free Food Initiative, also known as Lunga on Campus, which happened 2 weeks ago in this very ballroom. Again, it was quoted by one of the members of the SU. It was one of the biggest things that Keele University has ever seen in regards to diversity. And again, I think we should do more of these to help culturally educate our students. That's all I'd like to say for now, and I'm looking forward to your questions. Thank you very much.
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
Hi, I'm Gaydilla, and I wanted to tell you a bit more about me because I know you've read, some of you have read my manifesto, you may see my video, you might find my campaigns on Facebook. So just a little bit about me, what I did and why I'm applying to be your Welfare and Internationalisation Officer. So I am an international student, and first and foremost, I know what it feels like. I know what it feels like to speak not your own language.
This
to have to
is a
deal with your
demonstration
visas
of
and,
Wirecast.
just to be an international student and the difficulty it poses. So what I want to do is to increase the involvement of international students and the international body. Also, from the very first year, from the very first month, I've been involved with welfare activities. In first year, I've joined Student Ambassador and Nightline volunteering. In second year, I've been a star representing my peers from physics course. And in third year, I became an RSA, so I look after students on campus during night time.
This is a demonstration
so,
of
as you
Wirecast.
can see, I've got very in-depth knowledge about student services and student support on campus. I've developed a very good network with the student support, and I really want to bring all the services closer to students and make them more accessible and more transparent so people and students know what to expect with each service and how to easily access it via the Keele Students' Union website. Also, I know there are
This is a
great
demonstration of
opportunities
Wirecast.
during the exam week to relieve stress, do yoga, and I think these opportunities should be available throughout the academic year. It's not just the exam week that's stressful, but people have deadlines throughout the semester, throughout the year, and it's important to address these issues as well. Board Gadele for Internationalisation and Welfare Officer, please.
Thank you very much.
This
Yes,
is
do we
a
have
demonstration of
questions?
Wirecast.
Can we start with some generic questions, please?
Yes. So, to all candidates, what does the internationalisation part of the role mean to you beyond buzzwords like diversity?
Okay, Alex, can you answer first?
Internationalisation is obviously the new bit of this role this year. It's the bit that no one's really touched before as a sabbatical officer. And I've got some really good ideas
This
for how
is
we
a
can help
demonstration of
support and integrate
Wirecast.
international students into the Keele SU experience because they're typically defined as a hard-to-reach group. This is through lobbying on national issues that really affect them. This is about changing the union in ways which will really help them. So talking to the university about their provision during vacation periods, which is when lots of international students are the only ones on campus. It's about expanding the International Welcome Week, making that the best that it can be for all international students. And it's
This is
about
a demonstration of
creating
Wirecast.
forums for international students so they can tell us what issues they care about. So I was talking to a sabbatical officer of a different union from a while ago, and they went to the Nigerian Society and said, what would you like to do? They gave them the funding and the support to be able to put on an Independence Day celebration of their own. So small little ways like that we can really support our international students.
Okay, Anthony?
This
You
is
might
a
have seen me
demonstration
scribbling
of
because I use
Wirecast.
diversity a lot. But diversity to me isn't a buzzword. Diversity means bringing people together from different communities to make positive changes and do things for the common good. For me, that would mean, so I already have experience doing that with different faith societies and people of different faith communities, bringing them together to do something positive. That's something I've experienced in, and that's something that I'm going to continue to do if I was elected your Welfare and Internationalisation Officer. Thank you for listening.
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
Thank you. And Jagvir?
I think that's quite a bit of a funny question. I mean, if you look at internationalisation, a big chunk of it is about diversity. And if you look at internationalisation itself, it's looking after international students, accommodating them, making sure that they're part of the Keele community, which is something very, very special. So, you know, diversity is just one of them aspects which is very, very important to that role, and making sure they're a part of Keele University, which is the main thing that I think it's all about. Thank you.
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
Thank you. And Gedalia?
I'm glad the way that this question was worded, because it feels like all students are diverse, we're all different from each other, but I feel like including internationalization in the name of the role increases the emphasis and understanding of how our student body is balanced. There are so many international students, and it's important to be aware.
This is a demonstration
and,
of
we're all
Wirecast.
involved and increase the involvement with Students' Union and democracy, as well as to ensure their welfare and that everything is accessible to them, including the mental health and all the student services. Thank you.
Thank you. And Natalie?
So I guess, firstly, I would start by saying that just because internationalisation has been added to the title this year doesn't mean that it's not been looked at before, but I guess in a different way. So in terms of what we do for our international students,
This
is not
is a
going to change.
demonstration of
We still need to look at
Wirecast.
issues that international students distinctly face themselves. So this year I looked at the right to rent and how that would affect students on Tier 4 visas. But I guess in terms of how you support outside of that is looking at what internationalisation means to the university. So HE institutions across the country have taken up the strategic aim to internationalise their university for their students. And I suppose that means to me that we work more directly with the curriculum, so we make sure that every student that comes here, regardless of where they're from, whether they're a home student or an international student, have the same internationalised experience.
This is
so
a
that we have true
demonstration
cultural
of
diffusion through
Wirecast.
everything that we learn here. And whether you do politics or literature or science, you are operating within a globalised field so that you appreciate the most that you can out of our international campus.
Thank you. Okay. Let's have another generic question.
With more students and a decrease in affordable on-campus accommodation, how are you going to tackle this issue?
Okay, Anthony, could you answer this question first, please?
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
So accommodation is obviously very important. One of the things that I've been thinking about and the things that have been raised at UGMs is the fact that the demolishing of Hawthorns is going to be in stages. In the meantime, I think it'd be very important for the university to put funding in place if there wasn't enough accommodation for first years. Just extra money so if they would be able to cover the travel costs and living costs if they had to live off campus. That would be something that would be concrete. And
This
it's something
is
that
a
I would have to look
demonstration
at
of
generally if
Wirecast.
there was a major issue around it next year. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Can I just remind candidates to get really up close and personal with the microphone? Just to make sure we pick you up on our live stream.
Okay, I think an important thing, again, as Anthony just said, is speaking to the accommodation office, seeing what problems are being faced, why the
This
numbers
is a
rising and
demonstration of
decreasing. I think another
Wirecast.
thing we should look at is what are landlords doing outside of campus that the university is missing out on. So again, that's something we need to look at as well. Thank you.
To be honest, all the ideas that have been said are great, and we do need to develop more accommodation services off campus, as well as to look into why the prices are rising so much and what can we do about it. So
This
it's
is a
matter
demonstration
of
of
looking
Wirecast.
into it deeper and deeper to get into the root of why it's so expensive to live on campus and sometimes off campus as well, and how to provide the best accommodation services for the lowest price possible. Thanks.
Thank you.
So NUS figures tell us that students spend 114% of their student income on accommodation alone. And that's
This
shocking.
is a demonstration
So I
of
think there's two things that we need
Wirecast.
to do here. We need to recognise that the university is a market. It's a marketised environment, and they set their accommodation prices with the sector. That's not something that we can change here at Keele, but it is if we work with NUS. The other thing that we can do here locally is we can look to lobby the university to get the working relationships in place with the 3 student developments that are propping up in Newcastle. It's also my job to lobby the council to work to put on rent caps. So when I talked about getting better standards of accommodation, it's also a part of that work for me to look at rent caps so that students in
This is a
a
demonstration
double-bedroom
of
room with an ensuite pay the
Wirecast.
same price regardless of where it is, so that students can get that 114% down, because that leads to all sorts of other issues. For example, students that are full-time students are no longer full-time students anymore, and they all have to work part-time, and I don't necessarily think that's okay. So there's 2 issues. We have to work on campus and off campus to get the best deal. Thanks.
As I'm sure many of you are aware, the university is planning to expand student numbers by almost 25%.
This is a
up to
demonstration of
1,250
Wirecast.
students. And in that same period, this year alone, we've lost 150 rooms from Lindsay, and we're about to lose another 150 rooms in the Hawthorns Barnsley development. What I want to do is I want to push the university, I want to lobby the university to agree to a student charter, so that in proportion to as many students as they bring in, they increase on-campus accommodation, they increase funding for student services such as SSDS, so no students are left stranded, and they increase funding for the Students' Union, because the university can't expect to bring more students in without looking after them.
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
Thank you. How are we looking for questions? Oh, yeah, Anthony went first, yeah. Have we got any questions?
Yes, but can we have like a request for some individual questions as well, please?
Yeah, let's go for an individual question then.
No, I meant from people to submit them.
Oh, okay, you want some individual questions.
Yeah. So get writing, peeps. So question to all.
This is a
Considering
demonstration
recent
of
changes in laws and
Wirecast.
regulations and the government's attitude towards international students, how will you help support international students with this?
Okay, Jagveer, if you could go first.
With the changes in the laws and regulations and guidelines, I think it's really, really important to get in contact with the countries that international students are coming from and trying to build a platform where we can work together alongside the university to see what's missing out and what we can do to accommodate the students.
Thank you.
This is
Adelia?
a demonstration of Wirecast.
So obviously here is the issue of us supporting the current students who want to maybe stay in the country or maybe proceed to masters or get a visa with a job. And also getting new international students, because obviously the policies that they're reducing the numbers of visas issued to overseas students. So these issues need to be discussed during the general
This is a
meetings.
demonstration
And
of
some
Wirecast.
proposals need to be in place in order for us to help students to get those visas and to campaign against this cut and the decrease in the number of visas issued. Also, obviously, providing the best support we can to the current students and future students with their CAS numbers as well. Thank you.
This is a
reported now that
demonstration
it's
of
easier to study in
Wirecast.
Australia than it is in the UK. And when I heard that, I was quite taken aback because notoriously Australia is very hard to go to, whether you want to study or not. So I guess the government trying to make it a criminal offence for landlords not to check if their students have limited right to remain in the UK, which gives them the right to rent, is a problem. And I've already been working on this year with our Vice President Education, Joe, so that we can provide automatic status letters for international students that
This
state
is
that
a
they have the right to
demonstration
rent.
of
That way then
Wirecast.
they won't be discriminated against by landlords for having a foreign sounding name or being from an international nation. And that's something that will hopefully be secured for next academic year. I guess then the bigger picture is to go national and again work with NUS to campaign so that it isn't that difficult for students to study in the UK, because it's an awful shame that our international recruitment is massively down this year.
This is one of those nice issues that touches upon all
This
three aspects
is a
of my campaign.
demonstration of
So
Wirecast.
within the union, I would want to train up our staff in ASK to be able to better advise international students on the technicalities of their visas. Within the university, I'd lobby for the same from their staff. And I'd look to make the union and the university a sponsor for Tier 5 work visas for all of our international students. And nationally, I would want us to get involved in the campaign to change some of these laws that are really quite mean to all of our international students. Thank you very much.
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
A lot of the things that I already once said have been said by the other candidates. So I'm going to try and make this brief. The problems are around rent in particular, obviously. People with foreign-sounding surnames will be discriminated against. Something that I would like to do is sort of get the landlords in and to tell them that these are our students and they are, able to study here. There is no problem with their visas. One of the other things I'd really want to do is campaign with ANUS nationally to really enforce the issue.
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
We students at Keele University will not accept this. One of the other things I really want to do is work with the education officer who will be elected next year to ensure that we can continue this really positive dialogue that we have and to ensure that positive things can be done for Keele students. Thank you for listening.
I'll give, because we've had a request for some extra time, I'll give
This
every other
is a
candidate 30
demonstration of
seconds
Wirecast.
to, if they want to take 30 seconds to further elaborate on that question. So if anyone wants to go for it, you're welcome to. Yeah? No, if you want to go, yeah. And then Alex, yeah. And Anthony, yeah.
So I don't think a minute is necessarily long enough to talk about how bad the government's been to our international students. But one of the other things that I did want to tag on to the end of there is a lot of other unions are starting to lobby their university to be guarantors for international students. So when international students look to rent off campus,
This is a demonstration
which a lot
of
them have
Wirecast.
to, they are faced with having to pay their rent up front, or at least 80% of their rent up front. And that's not okay because home students don't have to do that. So a lot of other institutions have started to become guarantors for their international students. We haven't done that at Keele. And once again, we're looking to intrinsically and being left behind by the sector. So I'd like to make sure that that happens.
Thank you. Alex?
Just something else I wanted to add on, actually. I really think that student movement has
This
a power
is
to
a
change
demonstration
things. I
of
really want to work with our
Wirecast.
student societies, such as all the different individual international societies and the Keele International Student Society, KISS, to work on these issues. Also, our elected international students officer, who would be able to help deal with these things. Thank you.
Thank you.
One of the things as well that I'd really want to say, in my manifesto there's something about raising awareness of rent rights. That applies for international students
This
as well as
is a
domestic
demonstration
students.
of
Also,
Wirecast.
In terms of international students, I have a really good working relationship with all the people running for the international students rep. That's really exciting. So I'd be really happy to work with any of them who win. And I'd also be happy to work with international societies as well to ensure that everyone's aware of what the law is, and if any landlords are being cheeky and trying to go outside the law, they can't. Thank you.
Thank you.
This is a demonstration of
Something
Wirecast.
that I forgot to mention before, and it kind of ties up with the question about international students. So in my manifesto also, I wrote that I will be accessible and I will communicate with students' bodies, and I will spend more time communicating with you guys than in my office. As being international students, I'm only allowed to work 4 hours. Therefore, the rest of my time, I want to be with you communicating. That's why
This
I
is a
want
demonstration
to,
of
get the feedback
Wirecast.
from both international home students and students from Europe. Thanks.
Do we have some specific questions?
Yes, we do.
Excellent. Go for it.
Okay, question for Jagveer first. In relation to team change, what does this mean to you and what do you intend to change?
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
And the reason behind it is because individually, the members within Team Change have done stuff which is something new to the university, something which hasn't been done before. And it's not essentially just changing the whole student union or the whole university. It's about bringing and developing new ideas, new initiatives, new campaigns to the university to make students find out more about the students, about the people we have here at university. So another example, as I've already mentioned, was the Free Food initiative in this ballroom. Never ever done before at Keele University. We received amazing exposure, whether it's BBC, the Stoke Sentinel, and everybody found out about it, and the people here enjoyed it, students loved it. So again, it's about changing the way university at Keele is seen to students and bringing new things to here. Thank you.
Question for Anthony next. What policies and plans do you have in mind that will focus on different liberation groups? Yes, that's right.
Okay. So
this is a demonstration of Wirecast.
Students through Keele University Faith Forum. So one of the things I'd really like to do is create a more inclusive environment for LGBT plus people around faith communities at Keele. I think that's something we could really look at. I already, like I say, I know the people running for the International Students Rep. So when the BME Students Rep will get elected, I should hopefully be able to know more about the issues affecting
This
BME
is a
students
demonstration
and also,
of Wirecast.
Issues around students from abroad. I'm a member of FemSOP. I identify as a feminist, so I know a little bit about so-called like women's issues, but for me they're not women's issues, they're human rights issues. Okay. I think that's a lot. Okay, thank you, sorry.
Next question
This is a demonstration of
Alex.
Wirecast.
Your manifesto promises crash pads. How would you envision this happening?
So just a little bit of explanation. From my work on Street Team, we meet a lot of people who, for one reason or another, aren't particularly compass mentors. And often they don't have their Keele cards, they don't have their keys, they're not able to tell you where they live if it's the start of term, and they don't know if anyone's home.
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
And for people like that, there's very little that we can do for them. In severe cases of that, what the union does is they put them on a safety bus, they send them to A&E to sober up for a while. And that's not really the best situation. What I want us to do is for anyone who's in an emergency, whether that be a personal situation or whether that be a situation where your flat's been flooded or something like that, I want there to be about 5 or 6 rooms on campus that accommodation services can give to students for one night only, for you to use in an absolute emergency.
This
so when
is a
someone
demonstration of
is
Wirecast.
and can't use a room, can't get back to theirs, or when someone's flat sets on fire, there's somewhere for them to sleep for the night, a bed with someone to look after them.
The next question is for Nat. What have you done over the past year for mental health awareness, and how would you go about expanding this?
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
So to start off with, I worked with the university to secure further funding for the counselling and wellbeing service. So they will be having a large injection of funding which will hit for the next academic year, which should hopefully bring down wait times for counselling. I did also work with Mind, which are a national organisation to develop an app specifically for university students, which I've started to advertise, so hopefully you've seen that. Counselling and Wellbeing will also be advertising that. And to come up for the next exam season, I've started to design what we call a zine or
This
a
is a
zine.
demonstration
So it's a
of
small magazine
Wirecast.
of loads of different things. So I started to collaborate with loads of different officers to write articles and contribute to that, which will give students loads of information about mental health issues from a wide range of issues as well, so not just focusing on one particular one. I have also worked with Nightline on some of the campaigns that they've been doing. So whilst it hasn't necessarily been me that's leading them or heading them up, I've definitely been involved in loads of different things. Thanks.
And
This is a
who would like to
demonstration
ask?
of Wirecast.
Cool, got that question then. As an international student running, what specific experiences can you bring to the role?
I guess the main one is empathy, being able to be there for students and have obviously open door policy, and as I've said before, being around the SU and Keele University itself.
This is a demonstration of
My
Wirecast.
experience being an international student might be different will probably be different, and because everyone's experience is different, moving into a different country to study. So being there for somebody and sharing the experience, sharing the knowledge, and just a supporting shoulder that will be there in the face of sabbatical officer, I think is important. Yeah.
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
Thank you. I think we're done for questions now.
We've got a few more for all candidates, if that's okay.
All right then, yeah, one more. Pick a good one.
Hang on, let me just work out how to say all these words. I'm going to pass the microphone over.
Okay, considering the currently discussed psychoactive substances bill,
This
what will you
is
do
a
to protect
demonstration
students
of
from the use and dangers
Wirecast.
of nootropics?
Did we hear that? Should we have that one again?
Yep. Okay. Considering the currently discussed psychoactive substances bill, what will you do to protect students from the use and dangers of nootropics?
Okay. We're going to go back to the order. Did we hear that? Craig's writing it down as well for you. So, Craig needs some spellings.
This is a
So
demonstration
let's
of
have it again, nice
Wirecast.
and loud and slow.
Okay, they've just taken the piece of paper away from me. Okay. Considering the currently discussed psychoactive substances bill, what will you do to protect students from the use and dangers of nootropics? Would you like me to define nootropics? Yeah, basically, study drugs.
Study drugs. Thanks for the Googling, Craig. That's very useful.
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
Okay, so we're going to go back to the order we were at with the last set of generic questions, which I know you've just spoken, is Gedalia first.
So it is an issue that hasn't been widely publicised in our university, and it has to be, because students maybe taking them awarely, maybe not. There are side effects to them that they might not be aware of.
This
So
is a
it could
demonstration
be,
of Wirecast.
campaigns. It could be awareness week, something that has to be developed with the sabbatical team. So the newly established sabbatical team will have to come together and discuss whether it should be awareness week, whether it should be campaign, whether it should be both of those things, because it is a topic that should be discussed, and it affects, as well as the welfare, the mental health and the physical health of students who might knowingly or unknowingly
This is a demonstration
take
of
these
Wirecast.
substances.
So in terms of study drugs and how they're starting to impact upon universities, they're a very new thing. So it's essentially students will take drugs that would commonly be prescribed for ADHD, for example, like Ritalin. And they are a stimulant, so they make you focus for long periods of time. Now, the negative effects of them, we don't 100% know yet. And I guess the problem for me would
This
be
is a
if students try to buy
demonstration
them
of
over the internet.
Wirecast.
Because in that case, then they don't know what they're buying. That's different than if they get it from their friend who just happen to have ADHD. So I guess what we would need to do is we'd need to have a strategy. We need to do that with SSDS and with the counselling service, because they ultimately are going to see any students that are negatively affected by this. So I don't necessarily think a campaign shouting out, oh, we know there's a new thing called study drugs, let's try it, is the best option. But we definitely need to consider how this might affect students if they're buying them over the internet.
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
Regarding the Psychoactive Substances Bill, we need to work on a national level with the NUS to actually make sure that that is reflective and fair for all students. And regarding study drugs in particular, we need to run a campaign on campus to make sure that people are aware of the dangers of these types of drugs, and work with SSDS to make sure they have the knowledge and the expertise to be able to deal with people who may be using them or maybe suffering from potential side effects from them. We also need to make sure that
this is
our
a demonstration
our
of
union services
Wirecast.
are aware of them, and work with the university to be included in their ordinances and in their regulations, so that there's a framework for it somewhere, because these are very accessible and potentially very, very harmful for students.
As people who have read my manifesto know and heard me speak earlier, study drugs is something that feature in my manifesto. For me, it's not just going to be a simple campaign, which I've said.
This is a
The
demonstration
campaign
of
is useful for raising
Wirecast.
the effectiveness of, well, not the effectiveness, the problems that they cause, and also the issues around them. We also need to obviously talk to SSDS and say what the problems are, but the students who are using these drugs will often have other problems. So whether they'll be anxious around a class test or problems that they're having maybe at home, maybe they might not be able to function as effectively as what they think they can, so they can know that there is other support available and that these drugs are not the answer to those problems. I think also raising
This
awareness
is a demonstration
is key,
of Wirecast.
I think many of you here will know of people or be aware that these drugs are an issue. They are an issue for everyone, and they're an issue for unions across the country. That's why we need to campaign with NUS as well. Thank you very much.
I think it's very important that we look at the whole case of study drugs as diving into it in a much more of a big concept, not trying to look at what we can do to fight it, but look at the reasons why are students
This is a
looking at study drugs
demonstration
in the
of
first place, why they're
Wirecast.
trying to order them, why they're trying to take them. You know, and looking at that case, what are the alternatives to that? And I'll mirror what other candidates have said, working with the SSDS, working with the university. We should also work with other universities. You know, it's all about doing this on a collaborative level, and also working with organisations within the drug sector, mental health sector. Again, it's all about a collaborative issue. I think it's not just one issue the welfare officer has to tackle. It's a whole issue by everybody, essentially, to try and figure out what is the cause of the situation, what we can do to tackle it.
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
Thank you very much. We are done for questions. So now all candidates have got the opportunity for a 30-minute closing, 30-minute? No, we'd be here for a very long time. 30-second closing speech for anything that you feel like you haven't yet mentioned, or just a couple of last words to say to everybody here and everyone watching at home. So for this, we've worked our way round.
This is a demonstration of
Wirecast.
Wirecast.
So Nat, if you want to take the stage first.
If you said to me halfway through the summer that I'd be rerunning, I'd have said no way. But actually, I've been really lucky, and I've been really proud to work for the Students' Union and to really see some change. So whether it's been cross-campus campaigns or changing regulations around student discipline, or whether it's even been students messaging me at 2 o'clock in the morning, I care. I care when I have to take them into emergency accommodation and arrange that for them. And
This
I'm not
is a
ready to stop caring
demonstration
yet
of
about the students
Wirecast.
of Keele. And I want to carry on to campaign for you and to change things for you and make things better for you.
As you've heard already tonight, Keele SU is entering a real period of change. We have a new CEO coming in, we have a possible staffing restructure, and we've got 25% more students coming on campus. You need a sabbatical officer who's willing to and has the
This
experience
is a
to guide you
demonstration
through that
of
process,
Wirecast.
who has the experience to be able to lead you in a positive direction. But you also need a sabbatical officer with new ideas, who's willing to change, who's willing to take on advice, and is willing to move on in a new direction.
And that's time.
Thank you very much.
First of all, I want to thank you actually for being here and listening to us at this late hour. Thank you for listening and supporting me today at this hustings. As I hope you've seen that I am a passionate
This
and
is a
supportive
demonstration of
I've been passionate about
Wirecast.
welfare issues and internationalisation awareness as a celebration of diversity throughout my 3 years here. It will be a real honour for me to serve as your welfare and internationalisation officer. I care personally about your experience at Keele, and I want to thank you again for listening to me. Thank you.
As the famous rapper Stormzy said, "Big man with a beard, how can I be scared?" Now, this is very important because you have to look at the pressure that we go all through as students, whether it's starting
This
university,
is a demonstration
through our
of
degree, or at
Wirecast.
the end of it. And now you need an officer that's going to come to you as to come to the student, not expect the student to come to the officer. You need somebody that's approachable, that's got a past record of doing things for Keele. So get voting. Thank you very much.
Again, as it was said before, thank you so much for sticking with us. I know it's so late, and I'll keep it short and sweet. You've all seen us
This
now on
is a
stage.
demonstration
you can read our
of
manifestos,
Wirecast.
and you guys choose what your union is like, and you choose who your sabbatical officer is. So, yeah, thank you for being here.
Thank you. Has everyone been? I'm very tired. Lovely. Thank you.
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
Thank you everyone for coming tonight. It's been a very good candidate question time, and we've only finished 20 minutes late, so I think that's probably quite good going because I forgot to schedule a break in on my timesheet thing. So please, please, please make sure you vote in the Keele SU elections. Voting opens on Tuesday, the 1st of March, at 10 o'clock. We have added an extra day of voting this year because that is how much we love democracy.
This
So
is a
results
demonstration
will be
of
announced
Wirecast.
at 9:30 in the Scruffy Squirrel on the 4th. If you are in the building for the election results, so between 9 and 9:30, you are in for free for the rest of the night. And I believe there's some sort of Ministry of Sound type event going on. MTV, sorry. Whatever it is, I'm sure it'll be boss. But as long as you are there on time for the election results, then, like you said, you're in for free, including your friends. So please do bring some support
This
along
is
with
a
you.
demonstration of
We will be running some
Wirecast.
exciting election-type competitions on Twitter this week. So make sure you keep an eye out on the Keele SU elections hashtag. Thank you very much for tweeting tonight. It's been really good to see everyone getting involved. Andy, have you got anything to add?
Before everyone leaves this room, it's super fun if you fold up a chair and put it over to one side. Honestly, it's the most fun you'll have for weeks, so you should definitely do that.
Thanks, peeps. Peace out.
Two
This
chairs
is a